Hello everyone, welcome back to Belmont. It's been a wonderful couple of weeks away, but we're excited to be back and looking forward to Shabbat. I had the great privilege for many years, even way before we got married, even way before I was in yeshiva, I had the privilege of being a chazan, being a Baal Tefillah, to lead the services over the high holidays in many different communities, from growing up in my youth service in Boreham Woods to getting to university at Leeds at the campus, so we sometimes had services at least for Yom Kippur. I went to Leicester for a number of years to be their chazan. I was in Giffnock in Glasgow for a year. I travelled to Bronsby Park. I was in Pinner for several years until we landed a job in Norris Lee, and of course now we're in Belmont. And I'll never forget one of the years, I think it was the first year I was in yeshiva, before marriage. And I'd gone back for the whole Yomim Noraim, the whole high holidays period. And I came back and I spoke to some of my friends about their experiences. What was it like being in yeshiva? What were the davening like? What were the songs like? What were the meals like? Who did you go to? Which rabbis did you spend time with, etc.? What were your experiences? And I'll never forget, one of their comments, a few of my friends went to our Rebbe, the rabbi that was in charge of our particular shir, our particular class in the yeshiva. And on the first night of Rosh Hashanah, they went to the Rebbe to share with his family and his meal, his festive experience for the new year. Now, I remember growing up, first night Rosh Hashanah was a huge deal. It still is. But growing up as a family, this was the time we'd all get together as much as possible from different parts of the country. Of course, the food we prepared for months in advance, lots of drinking, lots of singing, lots of family time. What a great experience. What a beautiful start to the new year. So I was expecting something similar from them, but they said, wow, boy, was it different. The Rebbe was very stressed. You could see in his face, in his expressions, how he entertained us and the meal. This was not a person that was looking for a fun and festive experience. This was a person that realized that tomorrow, the day of Rosh Hashanah, this is Yom Hadin. This is the day of judgment. This is the day in which we will be judged. This is the day in which we will stand in the courtroom before the king, who will decide whether we live or die, decide our merits, or do we not merit any of the good that we wish and hope for in our lives. This isn't a time to stay up late drinking with our friends and family. This is a time to be serious. And this is how they portrayed that very first Rosh Hashanah in yeshiva, that evening with our Rav, to try and understand the importance of the day. And this sort of duality of Rosh Hashanah has always been quite confusing. Meaning, on the one hand, it is a festive day. It's a yontif. We're told to be apple and honey and do all the nice things and the pomegranates and be with your friends and family and have meals and be joyous and be happy, etc., etc. But on the other hand, it is Yom Hadin. It is the day of judgment. We have to think very carefully about how we act, how we hold ourselves over these days. What's going on here? And I think there's a lot to be said to understand this duality. And maybe we can explain it as follows. On the one hand, on a national level, we can celebrate the new year together. We can join together with our friends, our family, our communities, and enjoy being with each other and around each other. On a very personal level, we must, though, remember this is a day of judgment. The festive, happy day with the awesomeness, powerful day of din, of judgment. This is also reflected with something that comes up in our parasha. In our Sedra. We start this week with Parashat Ki Tavo. And inside Ki Tavo we have the rebuke, the tochacha. Now this tochacha, this rebuke is, if people of Israel, you must follow in the ways of Torah, you must do the mitzvot, the commandments, otherwise this is the bad, this is the evil, this is the things that will happen, that will fall upon you in all the very worst ways. This is what we are impressed upon from the Torah. But this rebuke is basically repeated similar to what we read in Parashat Bechukotai at the end of the book of Vayikra. So we have a rebuke there, and we have a rebuke here. Why the need to repeat? What's the difference between the two rebukes? So if we look closely, and so our great sages point out, the rebuke from a few months ago, that was the rebuke of a nation. As a nation, when you do not act appropriately, when you do not act properly, when you fall, this is what will befall you. As a people, as a nation. This is what you will lose. This is what will happen. But the rebuke of our parasha this week, This is a very personal one. It's not written in the plural. This is speaking to me and you. This is speaking to us on an individual level. If you fall, if you transgress, this is what will happen to you. So one's with the plural for the nation and one's for the individual. Just like Rosh Hashanah, where we realize it's a national celebration, but it's also a very personal din, a very personal judgment. And here's how we're going to tie this up all together. Because it's the same day, Rosh Hashanah. When you wake up in the morning, it's that same national celebration as it is that same Yom Hadin. If we as individuals can remember that we are so much a part of our nation, that we can celebrate and be joyous with those people around us, if we can make time to love, to honor, to celebrate with, to be a part of the community, then we can celebrate together. But always remember that I have a part to play in that whole. Always remember that I have what to do and what to say for myself as an individual, as a person. I have to be careful with my actions, with my thoughts, with everything that I do and how I carry myself. Because today, that day of Rosh Hashanah, for me, is a day in which God judges me. But it's also a day in which I should judge myself. So I should think about who I am. I should try and have a vision of the person that I want to be. And therefore, if I can achieve this, if I can work on myself, if I can feel and think and plan to the person and the life that I want to lead, hopefully Hashem will bless me with that, with a bounty of nachas, happiness, simcha and good health. But I can therefore celebrate as part of a nation, as part of our people. And we should only ever have reasons to celebrate and be happy and full of simcha and joy. Be'ezrat Hashem, please God, God willing, together. Looking forward to seeing as many of you as we can possibly fit in the shul over Rosh Hashanah. If you haven't got a seat yet and you've changed your mind, this could be we can squeeze you into various services. If we can find the space, please do book in. Missing you all terribly. Hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful Shabbos.